What if I told you that some of the animal facts you've believed your entire life are completely wrong? That the dog sitting beside you right now doesn't see the world in gray? That the goldfish in your bowl remembers far more than 3 seconds of its life? That a bull charging a matador's cape isn't angry about the color at all? For centuries, these stories have been repeated so often that we stopped questioning them. Parents told them to children, children grew up and told them to their own children. And somewhere along the way, folklore quietly disguised itself as fact. Today, we're going to unravel 15 of the most widely believed animal myths on the planet and replace them with what veterinary medicine, zoology, and modern research actually tell us. Some of these answers will surprise you. A few might genuinely shock you. Let's begin. Myth number 1. Dogs only see in black and white. Is it true? False. The science. This myth likely took hold because for most of the 20th century, scientists assumed dogs had no color vision at all, since their retinas contained far fewer cone cells than ours. But fewer cones doesn't mean no color. Humans have 3 types of cone cells, giving us what's called trichromatic vision. We see a huge range of colors, especially reds and greens. Dogs have only 2 types of cones, making them dichromatic. Their world isn't gray, it's more like a muted palette of blues, yellows, and browns. Reds and greens tend to blur into murky yellowish-brown tones, similar to a form of red-green colorblindness in humans. Veterinary ophthalmologists use this understanding today when designing visual enrichment toys for dogs. A blue or yellow ball stands out far more clearly against green grass than a red one does. Fun fact, because dogs have more rod cells than humans, their night vision and motion detection are significantly sharper than ours, which is part of why your dog notices a squirrel move across the yard before you even see it. Next up, a myth involving one of the most famous animals in sports history. Myth number 2. Bulls hate the color red. Is it true? False. The science. This one is a favorite in cartoons and comic strips, the raging bull charging at a red cape. But bulls, like most cattle, are red-green colorblind, just like dogs. They physically cannot distinguish red from other similar toned colors. So why do bulls charge the matador's cape, known as a muleta? It's not the color, it's the movement. Bulls are prey-driven animals with a strong instinct to chase and confront motion, especially fast, erratic waving in their peripheral vision. The cape's color is chosen for dramatic effect for the human audience, not to provoke the bull. Veterinary animal behaviorists studying cattle handling confirm that cattle react to motion, sound, and sudden gestures far more than color, which is why quiet, slow movement is a foundational principle in low-stress livestock handling techniques used on farms today. Fun fact, if you swapped that red cape for a blue or green one and waved it the same way, the bull would charge just as aggressively. But this next myth might be the one that's broken the most hearts of well-meaning animal lovers. Myth number 3. Touching a baby bird makes its mother reject it. Is it true? False. Mostly. The science. Generations of children have been warned never to touch a baby bird, told that the mother will smell the human scent and abandon their chick forever. It's a dramatic story, but it doesn't hold up well biologically. Most birds have a poor sense of smell compared to mammals. Species like robins, sparrows, and pigeons rely far more on sight and sound to recognize their chicks, and a parent bird's drive to feed its offspring is remarkably strong enough to overcome a little human scent. That said, there is a kernel of truth buried in this myth. If a human's presence near the nest is prolonged or the chick is handled too often, some species may become stressed enough to abandon the nest, not because of scent, but because of perceived predator threat and disturbance. So the caution isn't baseless, it's just misattributed to smell instead of disruption. Wildlife rehabilitators generally recommend a simple rule. If a chick is uninjured and mostly feathered, place it back in or near the nest quickly and leave the area. Fun fact, some vulture species are a notable exception. They do have a strong sense of smell, which they use to locate carrion from remarkable distances. Now here's a myth about an animal most people assume has almost no brain at all. Myth number 4. Goldfish have a 3-second memory. Is it true? False. The science. This myth is almost certainly the most repeated fish fact in the world, and it's not even close to accurate.
Studies on goldfish learning and memory, including maze navigation and feeding response training, show that goldfish can retain information for months, not seconds. Researchers have trained goldfish to associate specific sounds, light colors, or even times of day with feeding, and the fish continue to respond correctly weeks after the training ended. Their memory isn't complex like a mammal's, but 3 seconds is a wild underestimation, likely born from the assumption that a small brain must mean minimal intelligence. This matters for animal welfare too. Because goldfish can learn and remember their environment, veterinary and aquatic welfare guidelines increasingly stress that fish tanks should include enrichment, not just beer glass, since a bored fish is a stressed fish. Fun fact, goldfish can even be trained to push a lever for food, a task that requires a level of learned behavior far beyond a 3-second mind. Speaking of misunderstood senses, let's talk about a flying mammal with a reputation problem. Myth number 5, bats are blind. Is it true? False. The science, the phrase blind as a bat has been around for centuries, but it's biologically backwards. Nearly every bat species has functional eyesight, and many, especially fruit bats, actually see quite well, some even better than humans in low light. What confuses people is echolocation. Many insect-eating bat species navigate and hunt in total darkness using high-frequency sound pulses that bounce off objects, letting the bat build a 3D sound map of its surroundings in real time. This is an additional sense layered on top of vision, not a replacement for it. Veterinary and wildlife researchers studying bat sensory systems have found that bats actually integrate vision and echolocation together, switching priority between the two depending on light levels and hunting conditions. Fun fact, a bat's echolocation is so precise that some species can detect a wire thinner than a human hair in complete darkness, a level of spatial accuracy far beyond what human technology achieved until recent decades. This next myth involves one of the ocean's most feared and most misunderstood predators.
Myth number 6, sharks don't get cancer. Is it true? False. The science. This myth exploded in popularity in the 1990s, largely fueled by a best-selling book title, and it directly led to a surge in shark cartilage supplements marketed as cancer treatments. The problem, it's simply not true. Documented cases of tumors, including malignant ones, have been found in multiple shark species over the years. Sharks do appear to have a lower cancer rate than many other animals, and researchers are genuinely interested in shark immune systems for cancer research. But lower rate is very different from immune. This myth had real-world consequences. It contributed to the decline of shark populations through unnecessary and unregulated cartilage harvesting, all based on a claim with no solid scientific backing. Fun fact. Scientists are studying certain compounds in shark immune systems not because sharks are cancer-proof, but because their wound healing and infection resistance are unusually efficient, a much more grounded and promising area of research. Now, an animal so associated with a desert that its whole body has become a myth machine.
Myth number 7. Camels store water in their humps. Is it true? False. The science. A camel's hump isn't a canteen. It's a pantry. Humps are made almost entirely of fat, not water. This fat serves as a concentrated energy reserve that camels can metabolize slowly over days or weeks when food is scarce in the desert. Camels are remarkable at conserving water, but they do it through a combination of adaptations. Their red blood cells are oval-shaped, allowing blood to flow even when severely dehydrated. Their kidneys produce extremely concentrated urine, and their body temperature can fluctuate throughout the day to reduce sweating. Veterinary physiologists studying camels have found they can lose a proportion of their body weight in water that would be fatal to most mammals, and then rehydrate remarkably quickly by drinking large volumes at once. Fun fact, when a camel metabolizes the fat in its hump for energy, the hump can visibly shrink and flop to the side, only firming back up once the animal has eaten and rebuilt its reserves. Next, a myth about a bird accused of the strangest coping mechanism in the animal kingdom. Myth number 8. Ostriches bury their heads in the sand. Is it true? False. The science. This myth likely dates back to ancient observations, possibly of ostriches lying flat with their necks stretched along the ground to appear less visible to predators, or of them digging nests and periodically lowering their heads to turn their eggs. From a distance, either behavior could look like head burying. In reality, an ostrich burying its head in sand would suffocate almost immediately. What actually happens is far more practical. Ostrich nests are shallow pits dug directly into the ground, and the parent birds, often the female during the day and the male at night,
regularly lower their heads to turn and inspect the eggs. When genuinely threatened, ostriches don't hide, they run, reaching speeds of over 60 kilometers per hour, or they defend themselves with a powerful kick strong enough to injure a lion. Fun fact, an ostrich's eye is larger than its brain and is in fact the largest eye of any land animal, giving it exceptional long-distance vision to spot predators across open plains. This next myth is one veterinarians hear constantly from worried pet owners.
Myth number 9. Cats always land on their feet. Is it true? False, mostly. The science, cats do have an extraordinary reflex called the righting reflex, which allows them to twist their flexible spine mid-air and orient their bodies so their feet face downward before landing. This reflex typically develops by around 3 to 4 weeks of age and is genuinely remarkable. No other common mammal does it as efficiently. However, always is the dangerous word in this myth. The righting reflex needs enough falling distance to actually work, which means very short falls can be more dangerous, not less, because the cat doesn't have time to orient itself. And even from greater heights, cats can still suffer serious injuries. Fractured jaws, chest trauma, and limb fractures are common in what veterinarians call high-rise syndrome. This is a genuine area of veterinary concern in cities with high-rise apartments, where cats fall from balconies and windows far more often than pet owners expect. Fun fact, studies on high-rise syndrome found that cats falling from higher floors sometimes had fewer severe injuries than those falling from moderate heights, likely because greater height gives them more time to fully right themselves and relax their bodies before impact, like a skydiver. Now, a myth that has painted one species as a villain for centuries. Myth number 10. Wolves are naturally bloodthirsty killers. Is it true? False. The science, wolves have been cast as villains in folklore for centuries, from fairy tales to old farming legends, but decades of field research on wild wolf packs paint a very different picture. Wolves are highly social, family-oriented animals. A typical pack is essentially a family unit built around a breeding pair and their offspring, cooperating to hunt, raise pups, and defend territory. Wolves do hunt, of course. They're carnivores, and predation is a normal, necessary part of their ecological role. But bloodthirsty implies excessive or wasteful killing, which doesn't match reality. Wolves expend enormous energy on hunts that frequently fail, and they generally avoid unnecessary conflict, both with prey that could injure them and with humans, whom they typically avoid. Attacks on humans by wild, healthy wolves are exceptionally rare, far rarer than attacks by many animals considered far less fearsome. Much of the fear-based folklore around wolves emerged from historical conflicts over livestock, not evidence of inherent aggression toward people. Fun fact, wolves are so socially bonded that pack members will often regurgitate food to feed injured or elderly wolves who can no longer hunt, a level of cooperative care that contradicts the vicious loner image entirely. This next myth involves one of the strangest and most debunked stories in wildlife folklore. Myth number 11. Lemmings commit mass suicide. Is it true? False. The science. This myth became popular after a staged scene in a 1958 Disney documentary made it appear that lemmings intentionally jumped off cliffs. In reality, lemmings experience population booms that trigger large migrations in search of food and territory. During these migrations, some accidentally fall from cliffs or drown while crossing water, but they are not intentionally committing suicide. Fun fact, lemmings are strong swimmers and often cross rivers and lakes during migration. Most deaths occur because of overcrowding and difficult terrain, not deliberate behavior. Myth number 12. Chameleons change color only for camouflage. Is it true? False. The science. Camouflage is only one small part of why chameleons change color. Their primary reasons are communication and temperature regulation. Specialized skin cells containing nanocrystals alter how light is reflected, allowing chameleons to display bright colors during courtship or territorial disputes, darker colors to absorb heat, and lighter colors to stay cool. Fun fact, some chameleon species can dramatically change color within seconds during social interactions, using color as a form of visual communication. Myth number 13. Daddy longlegs are the most venomous spiders, but their fangs are too short to bite you. Is it true? False. The science. This myth confuses two different animals, harvestmen, which have no venom glands, and cellar spiders, whose venom is mild and harmless to humans. Neither is among the world's most venomous spiders, and cellar spiders are capable of biting people. Their venom simply isn't medically significant. Fun fact, harvestmen aren't true spiders.
Unlike spiders, they have a single fused body segment instead of two distinct body parts. Myth number 14. Dogs eat grass only because they're sick. Is it true? False. The science. Although some dogs vomit after eating grass, research shows most do not and display no signs of illness beforehand. Grass eating is generally considered normal behavior and may be linked to dietary variety, inherited instincts from wild ancestors, or simply enjoying the taste. Only persistent or excessive grass eating may indicate an underlying health issue. Fun fact: wild canines, such as wolves and foxes, also eat grass, suggesting this behavior is an ancient natural instinct. Myth number 15. Black cats bring bad luck. Is it true? False. The science. There is no scientific basis for black cats affecting luck. The belief comes from cultural superstition, with some cultures viewing black cats as unlucky while others see them as symbols of good fortune. Unfortunately, this myth has real welfare consequences, as black cats are often adopted less frequently than cats of other colors. Their black fur is simply the result of melanin pigmentation. Fun fact: many black cats reveal faint tabby stripes in bright sunlight, a phenomenon known as ghost striping.
So there you have it, 15 animal myths that have shaped how millions of people see the animal kingdom, and 15 truths that are honestly more fascinating than the myths ever were. Dogs see in color. Bats can see just fine. Sharks get cancer. Cats don't always land safely. And black cats are just cats. The truth is, real animal science doesn't need exaggeration to be incredible. It's already strange, surprising, and occasionally jaw-dropping enough on its own. So tell us, which myth fooled you the longest? Drop it in the comments below. We genuinely want to know. If you enjoyed peeling back the layers of animal folklore today, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode of The Animal Ledger.